this going to move the needle? I don't know.
It will. Among those people, it will move the needle.
You think you're going to vote for her now that you were an undecided voter?
Oh, I'm still an undecided voter.
Oh, shut up. Oh, stop it.
I am. I understand you all want me to make some big announcement.
Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and Sunny Hostin, of course, had absolutely unhinged takes on the debate from last night between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Obviously, in my opinion, and probably you're watching, Donald Trump absolutely wiped the floor with Kamala Harris on most of those issues. I think every once in a while, Trump got a little bit flustered and a little bit heated and started to rant a little bit too much. I think cut off the people who were cutting him off the entire time, the supposed moderators who were definitely cutting him off a lot more than he cut them off, but he started to talk over them. You could tell he was getting a little bit heated, and I think that was probably Kamala's plan the entire time, was to do that. So I wish he didn't get heated and a little bit flustered at times, but other than that, I mean, on the actual substance of the arguments, it was no competition in my opinion. But of course, Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and the rest of the View also feel the same way, that there was no competition except going in the other direction. And Chris Christie actually puts them in their place, surprisingly, of all people. And ironically enough, I just realized that the title of this video is Former Governor Chris Christie Weighs In on Harris-Trump Debate. What an ironic title, Weighs In. That was a bad joke. But yeah, anyway, let's get into this clip here from The View with Chris Christie putting these woke hens in their place about the debate last night from Kamala Harris and Donald Trump.
Get right into it. You debated you know who before.
Yeah, you did. Times.
Yeah, you know, and so what did you see last night?
Well, first, you saw someone, and I think Sonny said this earlier, you saw someone who's exquisitely well prepared and somebody who was not.
Yeah.
And these things are hard.
Yeah.
You go out there, there's 70, 80 million people watching you. And you go out on the stage and you are by yourself in every way that you can be. No staff, no family, no.
By the way, I've been hearing a lot of people say this, exactly what Whoopi Goldberg and Chris Christie are saying here about Kamala Harris being super well prepared. I have to disagree. I hear a lot of people saying this. It's kind of the same thing that they did with the last presidential debate between Biden and Trump, where they were all saying, oh, Trump just lied, Trump lied, Trump lied, and they couldn't name a single lie that he told, which I'm not saying that he didn't lie. I'm sure he did. That's what politicians do to get elected. They tell, half truths, they lie. That's just the case. I'm sure he did lie, but none of them could ever name a singular lie that he told. The same thing goes for this one with Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar talking about this presidential debate between Trump and Kamala Harris, where they're saying that Kamala Harris was so well prepared for this debate. And I'm just like, I was actually surprised watching it live how unprepared she seemed and how flustered, how she was stumbling over her words. I thought she was going to be a huge step up from Biden, which obviously she was. I mean, and my dog would be a step up from Biden, but she wasn't this like super well prepared, well spoken Barack Obama type person, in my opinion. It was kind of really bad the way that she was stumbling over words and, just a jumbled mess, in my opinion, on a lot of these topics.
Conversation.
No notes, right?
No notes, no phones, nothing. And so if you're not well prepared, things can go off the rails pretty quick. Now, when you add to it that he's just a really angry guy.
Yeah.
So, I got asked before the debate which Donald Trump was going to show up. Yeah. And I said, well, in the beginning, the calm Donald Trump will show up because he knows that's what he's supposed to be in order to do well. I said, but this is not a solo act.
Yeah.
This is an interactive thing. And as soon as either one of the questioners or the vice president would get him riled up, he'll go off.
You say he should be prepared. He has no attention span, and he's unable to retain information.
He's not saying he's capable of preparation.
I didn't say he was.
But how do you prepare?
Well, no, look, you can prepare even because I did it with him in 2016. Even with someone with his limited attention span.
You what now? You did what in 2016? Anyway, talking about, Chris Christie saying that Donald Trump was unprepared and stuff like that. I think that he was prepared and he definitely had really good rebuttals to a lot of the topics that were brought up, especially a lot of the nonsense that Kamala Harris was saying. I mean, she just lied and lied and lied about things that Trump never said. She kept bringing up the Project 2025 stuff, which Donald Trump has said that he has nothing to do with Project 2025 over and over again. I mean, he keeps saying that. His supporters are getting mad at him because of how much he's disavowing Project 2025, and they don't care. They know that their supporters, the Democrat voters, they know that they're stupid, and they're going to vote for them no matter what. If they just tell the correct lies, it doesn't matter if they're true or not. They're going to eat it up. That's all they care about. So I think it also is a little bit hard to be prepared for a debate that's not 1v1. It's more of a 1v3 because the moderators very much so kept cutting Trump off, kept correcting him, and they never really corrected Kamala Harris, ever. And she definitely did lie and should have been corrected multiple times. There was even a point where I always forget the woman's name who was the moderator, but she had stopped talking for like 30 minutes of the debate because I think the network probably told her, hey, you're way too one-sided here. Let's just stop talking for a while because your emotions are very obviously getting the best of you. I think that actually happened. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with me there.
It was. He's 8 years older.
He's had a decline. As my Aunt Julie would say, he took a drop.
He took a drop.
Yeah. Well, and also.
Yeah, and you can do that, but he has to want to do it.
Yeah.
And believe me, he doesn't want to do it.
But
He
what
doesn't
does he
like
want?
working hard.
What does he want to do?
He just wants to go out there and be him.
Yeah, well,
And we
that's
saw
what
it.
he did.
Well, and last
We
night,
saw it
though,
last
one
night.
of the boldest moves, which we were just talking about, is the vice president came on that stage. She reached for his hand, and she was almost behind his podium because they were clearly not going to meet in the middle. Do you think that set the tone for the night? Because I thought that was such an amazing
Threw
move.
him off.
Look,
Yeah.
if she threw him off, then he's even stupider than some people think. That was. I mean, look, she did well last night.
This is such a circle jerk, man. Like, all you have to do to get the crowd to applaud you when you go on The View and get The View to love you, get Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of these idiots to love you on The View, is just say, Donald Trump, stupid. Woo! Everybody applauds. Like, dude, this is the worst television of all time. I can't believe I react to this stuff like all the time. I've had to slow down recently on reacting to The View because, number one, I think people are just starting to stop caring because The View is getting so insane and Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar's takes are just getting so out there that people are kind of just like, okay, this is obviously satire, right? Number two, it's bad for my health to watch this stuff on a daily basis.
Right. But that was a layup. Okay, you go and you shake someone's hand.
But that's how low the bar has been brought down.
Well, but that's right. But she doesn't get credit for getting over a bar that's this high. My
she
point
didn't
is,
take the bar down there.
No, that's good and good for her, and it's smart. Why didn't he? Because that's not him.
Like, why didn't he meet her in the middle? And because he is so much larger than she is. She's my height. I'm about 5'6". He's got to be about 6'2".
Oh, maybe. Let's just take a while, like just a shot in the dark here. Maybe, just maybe, Kamala Harris started walking to the stage before Donald Trump, maybe walked a little bit faster to the podium than Donald Trump walked. So maybe she was like 3 steps further than he was whenever they shook hands. Like, could that just be the case? Does it have to be like this masterminded move by Kamala Harris? Like, dude, these people, they're just reaching for anything and everything. They know that they lost. They know. And Chris Christie's going to put them in their place towards the end of this.
And she looked taller than he looked.
But that's not, certainly she was taller than him by going and greeting him.
Yeah.
And it was a display of confidence on her part as well. And the other thing that added to it last night was that I thought was one of the most disturbing parts of the whole thing was he wouldn't look at her. Right? And so, even when he was talking about her, he kept looking straight ahead. When she was talking about him, he wouldn't look at her. And he didn't do that because he's so uncomfortable. He was
debating
expecting
a woman.
Well, I
Just
think
in the situation
I think it's debating this woman.
Yeah.
Now, I could tell you that when I was preparing him in 2016, he had enormous respect for Hillary Clinton. He used to say all the time, she's really smart, she's really tough, she's really good.
Wow.
He doesn't think this about Vice President Harris. Wrongly, but he doesn't think that.
Why not?
And he displayed it.
I don't understand how Chris Christie can sit up here on The View and say he wouldn't look at Kamala Harris. Trump wouldn't look at Kamala Harris because he fears her. But then at the same time say, back in 2016, when I was preparing Donald Trump for his presidential debate with Hillary Clinton, he had massive respect for Hillary Clinton. You can't really, a part of respect is having a little bit of fear. So I don't understand how you can say that. Because he looked at Hillary Clinton, he had massive respect for her. But because he wouldn't look at Kamala Harris, he had massive fear for her. Come on, guys. He very obviously, in my opinion, just looks at Kamala Harris as so far below him that it's not even worth his time to look at her. The only time that he looked at Joe Biden in their presidential debate was whenever he was mumbling and he tried to look at him to understand, try to read the lips of his words that he was saying, the jumbled mess that was coming out of his mouth because it was literally illiterate. you couldn't understand what the guy was saying. So you had to look at him in order to even be able to respond to what he was saying, because he was just slurring his words so much.
He displayed his lack of respect for her.
Does it have to do with her skin color, perchance?
No, I don't think that's it in and of itself.
Well,
I think it's that.
Is it a part of it?
I think it's that she's vice president. You know the old joke, Joy, right? Like a woman had two sons. One went to sea, the other became vice president. Neither were ever heard from again. Like, people don't respect vice presidents. They go there and they have to stand behind the president and nod.
But then why does he keep saying you did nothing for the past 4 years?
Well, of course.
If she had the power,
that's just because
she doesn't have the power.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And if I were her, I would have said that.
Yeah. Well,
I would have
she
said,
said
you know, look. In the end, last night, she did what she had to do.
Yes, she did.
Which was, she's the lesser known person with the lesser profile. She needed to show those undecided voters that she belonged on that stage.
Right.
And last night she showed she belonged on the stage. And
I definitely don't think she belongs on the stage, and maybe a little bit more than Joe Biden does, for sure. Anybody that can put some coherent thoughts together definitely belongs there more than Joe Biden does, but I don't think she showed anything crazy last night. I was actually very unimpressed with how well-spoken she was. I was expecting some, not Obama level, but somewhere close to that. She was closer to Joe Biden's level of speaking than Obama's level of speaking, which is really sad. And I was expecting a whole lot more. And like I said, we're going to get to Chris Christie just destroying The View's hopes and dreams here in a second, just like he did last time he was on The View. But let's get a little bit more into the debate first.
that's why, look, I saw her campaign put out a challenge for a second debate right after the debate. Please stop.
Yeah, that'll never happen.
Don't do it.
Do not toy with perfection.
Don't do that. Really, seriously.
Yeah,
You get in the ring against a guy who has had more presidential debates than anybody in history, and you knock him around.
Yeah.
Raise your arms, go do 2 rallies a day, raise some money, and go home, man.
Yeah.
Don't, because nothing great can happen for her in a second debate.
I don't think
she'll either do as well as she did this time, people go, okay, or he could do.
Basically, they're admitting, even Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg are admitting that she got lucky. That Donald Trump might have gotten flustered a little bit. He got a little bit heated because it was literally a 1v3 debate, as it always will be, because Kamala Harris and her team will never, she'll never accept a debate that's on a neutral ground. She'll never accept a debate that has neutral moderators, because I don't even know if they exist. There is no neutral moderators. Trump is such a polarizing figure that you either love him or you hate him. There's nobody in between. There's no neutral moderators in this case. But let's get into the part here where they try to ask Chris Christie, Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and Sunny Hostin try to pressure him into endorsing Kamala Harris and saying that he's going to vote for her. And let's check out what he says, because his response definitely set them off a little bit, as it did last time. Let's check this out.
Things to help herself. Look, the American people are forgiving people and they're understanding people. So there were some mistakes made in the Biden administration. She should admit to them and say she's going to do better. So the pullout in Afghanistan, that was flubbed. It was blown, right?
But he gave the date. He gave the.
Yeah, but Whoopi, I'm saying, or Joy, what I'm saying is that she can. You're all over here, you're all over here. But she can become more credible with people by saying, look, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
And I learned from it. Yeah. And I'm going to do better when I'm president than we did.
And evolution shows leadership.
That's exactly right. And
they are correct here. Whenever Kamala Harris was asked about why is she changing her opinion so much, and they're going to talk about that here in a second too, a little bit. Why is she changing her opinion so much on so many of these different topics? She's even adopting a lot of Donald Trump's opinions and policies on these topics. If she would have just said something like, I'm growing as a person, or the country is changing, or something like that, I think it would have crushed. But instead, she tried to dance around the topic. She tried to not answer the questions when it's unavoidable stuff. It's like your opinion is changing rapidly. If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video. As in comparison to what it was a year ago. All of your policies and opinions are changing so rapidly because you know that you're losing to Donald Trump. It would have been much better if she said, I'm reevaluating some policies that I had. I'm growing as a person. And when you grow, things change. Your opinions change. Your policies change. I think that would have crushed as a response. But instead, she tried to dance around the topics and not answer the questions, which was a huge mistake, in my opinion.
And when they talk about her changing positions on certain issues, the way I would hope she would address it would be to say, you know what? I will change some of my positions if that helps me bring the country together.
Yeah.
If it helps me
She
bring
handled
people
fracking
together.
well, I think.
Yeah. But make it about uniting the country, Alyssa, right? And saying, look, I'm not going to get everything I want. And so I will change. I won't violate my principles. But what I will do is change my position a bit if I think that can help bring the country together. I think that's what undecided voters want to hear, is they want to stop the fighting and start working together.
Is this going to move the needle at all?
It will. Among those people, it will
You think
move
you're
the
going to
needle
vote for her now that you were an undecided voter?
Oh, I'm still an undecided voter.
Oh, shut up. Oh, stop
I am. I understand you all want me to make some big announcement, but what I will say to you is Donald Trump is not who I'm voting for. You take.
And that's all they really care about at the end of the day. But they are really mad that they couldn't convince Chris Christie to endorse Kamala Harris. This is a very common theme with The View, where they bring on people like Chris Christie, like Charlamagne the God, like so many people, and they try to pressure them into endorsing their candidate. Back before, last time Chris Christie was on, it was Joe Biden at that time. They tried to get Charlamagne to say he's voting for Joe Biden. He wouldn't. They tried to get Chris Christie to say that he was voting for Joe Biden. He wouldn't say that. And now he's again saying, nope, even after all this, still not voting for Kamala Harris. It's not happening. Let me know what you guys thought about Chris Christie and The View discussing the debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. Obviously, they're absolutely unhinged, in my opinion, and I think they're just coping really hard with the fact that they are definitely going to lose this next election unless there is some sort of foul play with the next presidential election. Let me know in the comments, who do you think won the debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, and what do you think about this episode of The View with Chris Christie shutting down their hopes and dreams towards the end there? Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole The View, Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris, and Chris Christie situation.